Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We've got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always happens, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto, guys. This is your morning show where we go live 10 a.m. Eastern every single weekday to bring you the latest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, technical, on-chain, and quite a lot of fundamental analysis today, because if you guys do not know, about a month ago, the chairman of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, none other than Rostin Benham, came out and said that Ethereum was a commodity even after the proof of stake transition. Well, this morning, the CFTC chairman was reported as saying that Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that is considered a commodity, which is an exclusionary statement leaving out Ethereum, indicating that Rostin Benham may have changed his stance and now believes, according to what the SEC believes, that Ethereum is in fact a security. And if that is true, that opens up a massive Pandora's box in crypto, because Ethereum was one of the last holdouts for cryptocurrency assets other than Bitcoin being considered a commodity. In fact, for many years now, going back to at least 2019, we have been running under the assumption as a market that Ethereum would be treated as a commodity. The fact that he has said this, which we're going to jump into in today's stream, completely turns the regulatory landscape and future of Bitcoin, and especially of Ethereum, on its head, and could serve as one more step towards Gary Genslers' dream of a regulatory monopoly over the cryptocurrency industry, which he got a massive bone thrown to him after FTX went belly up, and a lot of the people that were being donated to by FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried were actually supporting the CFTC being a bigger regulating body over the cryptocurrency market. So there's a lot to unpack here. We're going to talk about what exactly Rostin Benham said, what it means, how it flies very, very close in line with what Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, has been saying, and what those two very important regulators being finally in agreement means for the future of crypto. What does this mean for disclosures from Ethereum and the coders and developers and the foundation behind Ethereum? What does this mean for the rest of the cryptocurrency market? What does this mean for your favorite DeFi ecosystems, your favorite stablecoins, etc.? We're going to talk about all of that and more in today's episode. And even though I'm not a securities lawyer, we're going to run Ethereum through the Howie test and see how it fares. So, if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Make sure to hit the post notification bell if you have not already, so that you will not miss a single stream here on the channel. And stay tuned, because 10 a.m. Eastern, 2 days from now, exactly 48 hours minus 2 minutes from now, an interview that I did with one of your favorite content creators here in the crypto space, George from Cryptos R Us, will be going live on the channel. And drumroll please, I have some exciting news. Sunday videos are coming back, and they're coming back this Sunday, and there will be one going up at 10 a.m. Eastern this Sunday, so stay tuned and be on the lookout for that. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Let's go ahead and read some chat. We've already got 179 people here. Figured I'd let my hair down today. Normally, I like slick it up and put it up, but, you know, I actually really like having my hair just down. I used to wear my hair like this, and then I got all, you know, professional with the pomade and everything, but today, we're gonna take it pretty chill. In fact, I've even got some coffee here. I feel... This is from Duncan. Yeah, I know. Cheers. It's Coffee and Crypto. All right, Mike Lowry was first. Today, he said, good morning, CNC family. Hashtag FinSov. Smash the likes. If you guys don't know what FinSov is, financial sovereignty is the vision of this channel. My vision is to help you guys achieve what I call financial sovereignty. Financial sovereignty is the idea that you and you alone ought to have control over your finances, your financial systems, your financial situations, and your financial structure, not a third party like a bank, not a third party manipulating the currency like the Federal Reserve. causing inflation and then trying to bring it down with interest rates. You alone should be as much in control of your currency and of your finances and of your financial picture as possible. We call that financial sovereignty, and that is what education about finances and utilization of the cryptocurrency market brings you. It brings you this concept of financial sovereignty so that you are the one in ultimate control of your financial destiny, not the SEC, not the CFTC, not the US dollar, not the Federal Reserve, but you and your hard work. I want you guys to be rewarded for what you are doing, not have it taken away from you by the silent tax that is inflation, which steals 5 to 10% of your money every single year. It's almost always going to be higher than what CPI is reporting it as, because CPI is a joke. We know that on this channel. ETH is an unregistered security. Craig the Space Bum said, Craig, I wonder how is that even possible in outer space? Like, what? How do you need like a ton of equipment up there? So I'm not really sure how you could be a bum in space, but nevertheless, I agree. Excuse me, not that I agree, but that is part of the topic of today's stream. Is Ethereum an unregistered security? We're going to go through that. Jeremy Shorter, also in chat, one of the first Korean names, said, "Good morning, all. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now." That's absolutely the right mantra. Grand Roofing Incorporated is in chat. "Good morning, guys. Be back in a few. Hello. Don't go fall off a roof while we're here." The classic IT guy, and by the way, he does roofing, so I'm actually being serious. I'm not making a joke there. The classic IT guy in chat. Justin Eubanks in chat. Cedric Lepine said, "Morning, Jebb. So happy to have gotten Lux Algo Lifetime Sunday night. It's amazing." Boom. If you guys have not gotten Lux Algo, you still can. It is a great, great product. The lifetime is over, but it is still a wonderful product, which you guys can still get access to with the link in the description box down below. Let me just go ahead and pull something up for something that we're going to be doing here in just a second. Want to make sure that we have that set up. Good deal. And that would be CBD Study said, the Musk Watch. Guys, we are going to be doing the Musk Watch here in a moment, because as you guys may know, Elon Musk and Tim Cook had a buddy chat, and things seem to have smoothed over a little bit. Let's see what happened. OMAC is here. Bootsy said, "Good morning, Jebb. Got back into trading since the beginning of the bear market. Got Lux Algo just in time. Thanks for everything you do." Thank you for getting Lux Algo and for being awesome. Justin Eubanks said, hashtag FinSolve, hashtag Bedrock. Queen back in chat. Bedrock present. Boom. Just Ray. Bedrock present. Good day, Queen. Crypto Sec guys in chat. Crypto Smitty. Justin Eubanks. Let's see. Am I missing anybody? Matt C's in chat. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, man. Crypto Mini Bike. Mitch Shaw. Peak season for both my jobs. I'll just be listening most of the next month. There you go. I haven't had Dunkin's donuts or coffee in forever. Yeah, there's one right by the office here, so it's pretty easy to get to. At Queen, Jebb gave you a shout out yesterday looking for you. I know. I was wondering where you were. You're always in chat. All right. Good deal. So, as you guys know, every single day for the next however long it's relevant, we have a segment that we are calling the Must Watch, and that would be the watching of Elon Musk and why it is a must. Let's go ahead and take a look at his Twitter account, and there's quite a lot of interesting things going on over here. By the way, Big Time Rush is trending. Who remembers these guys? I watched the show when I was in like 5th grade, but I didn't know they were still relevant. I didn't even know that they were still active, but nevertheless, it looks like something terrible happened, so shout out to them. Prayers for them. Hopefully everything's okay. Elon Musk said, Twitter is purging a lot of spam/scam accounts right now, so you may see your follower count drop. I didn't notice that. We've lost a few hundred followers, and I thought it had to do with that. And I think that's what it is. Exciting Neuralink update in 30 minutes. So Elon Musk, if you don't know what Neuralink is, it is a company that Elon Musk works with. People argues whether or not he founded it, but nevertheless, he works very closely with it. It is one of his companies. And they basically make brain chips that help with reversing different kinds of neurological dysfunctions, such as broken spines and whatnot. So Elon Musk is going to be getting a brain chip soon. And he's going to just be using it as a, I don't know, maybe a target uplink computer to the mothership, wherever the other aliens of his race are. He's going to be able to get back in contact with them. ET needs to phone home, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Either way, he also talked to Tim Cook, who may also not be an alien, but they talked here at Apple's beautiful headquarters. Elon Musk filmed a little thing of a pool right here. This is the pool over at Apple HQ. If you guys don't know, Apple headquarters is absolutely insane. It's a giant ring, and it has like 20,000, 30,000 employees there. It's ridiculous. A massive headquarters they just opened up. But Elon said, good conversation. Among other things, we resolved the misunderstandings about Twitter potentially being removed from the App Store. Tim was clear that Apple never considered doing so. So, seems that everything is okay. If you don't remember, Elon Musk had this post where it said, pay 30% of the pay the 30% tax or go to war. And it says Elon Musk saying go to war. So I'm really wondering if he went and talked to Tim Cook and said, hey, listen, Tim Cook, Twitter is a very young company. I just stepped in. Twitter 2.0 is like 3 weeks old. I'm really driven. We've got a bunch of really driven people. Do you really want to go to war with us? Are you sure that's what you want? And maybe Tim Cook was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. We cut Spotify a deal. We cut other companies a deal so that they didn't have to pay the 30% tax. We gave them a lower chip. And also, no, we won't kick you off because we don't want to spawn Elon Musk, who's worth $300 billion, $200 billion, and Tesla, which has 130,000 employees, to make their own smartphone and compete with us. No. It's not worth the fight. Let's just let Twitter be on the App Store and not jump too deep into the culture wars that Elon Musk has thrust himself into the middle of. So I wonder if it was that Tim Cook never actually wanted to take Twitter off the App Store, or he realizes that doing so would be a very bad business move because they would be creating a new competitor, not only in an App Store space, but also in the mobile phone space, which they have not had to contend with other than Android for a very long time, ever since the launch of iPhone, to be exact, back then when you had Microsoft trying to put out phones and whatnot. Seems to me that Tim Cook realized that that's not a battle that he wants to fight, or maybe he just never had the thought of fighting it in the first place. That's pretty much all for today. You can see, we talked about this yesterday. Twitter core services latency reduced by 400 milliseconds should feel noticeably faster. That is 0.4 of a second for anybody who doesn't know. 1 millisecond is 1,000th of a second. So that's actually very, very fast, and I can definitely tell that the site seems to be moving faster. So, cool. Like I said, not too much to talk about there. Just wanted to let you know that it looks like what would be very interesting battle between Apple and Twitter is not going to happen, which ultimately is probably a good thing for Tim Cook and Apple. But frankly, if Elon Musk did take on Apple, I think he would win. I honestly think that they wouldn't have more market share than Apple for a very long time, but if they did create their own phone, it probably would do very well. Now, as I said, we're going to talk about the CFTC and those talks here in a little while. But let's also go ahead and welcome CBD Suddy as a Jebbi youngling. Thank you so much for joining the membership program. Really, really, really appreciate you guys for tuning in. You get a green name when you join his membership program. Yes, so you get a green name when you do that. So thank you guys so much. Everybody, thank you very much for being members of the channel, all of you who are. It's very, very much appreciated. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the actual article that set all of this off. CFTC chief says Bitcoin is the only commodity in the wake of the FTX collapse. Okay, I've already got to pause. Let's break this down. Remember what happened about a month ago. FTX, boom, blew up, just exploded on November 8th at 11:03 a.m. We saw Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX founder and CEO, released a tweet saying that FTX was insolvent. 2 days later, 3 or 4 days later, we found out about what their balance sheet looked like on November 10th. They had 10% of their liabilities in the form of liquid assets. So they were very bankrupt. They weren't like just a little bankrupt where somebody could bail them out very easily and they come back. No, they were like very bankrupt. And so there's really no saving FTX unless the government came in and bailed them out, which would not be a good idea, in my opinion. When that happened, that threw a lot of what Sam Bankman-Fried was doing on Capitol Hill into question. He'd been donating to both sides of the political aisle, and he had also been championing the CFTC to be the main regulatory governing body over the cryptocurrency market. And I think that Sam Bankman-Fried was right in the assertion that the CFTC should be the organization, the regulatory agency over the cryptocurrency space. And I'll tell you why. Cryptocurrencies do not operate like securities, even though they very well may pass the Howie test. Securities, generally speaking, and there are certain exceptions, but generally speaking, refer to stocks. A stock is a security. Not all securities are stocks. It's almost like every toad is a frog, but not every frog is a toad. You know, it's the hierarchical classification and organizational structure in play here. Crypto does not operate like a stock, and it doesn't really fall under the purview or the expertise of the Securities and Exchange Commission. What ultimately needs to happen is that there needs to be a regulatory agency designed for the cryptocurrency space, because there are regulations that need to take place. What happened with FTX should never have happened, ever in a million years. That should never, ever, ever happen, ever. Not even in a free market. We should not have $9 billion worth of customer funds disappear in the blink of an eye. That should never, ever happen. And the government does have a certain place to ensure that people are not flying flagrantly in violation of the law, as FTX was doing by moving so many customer funds and then them disappearing. Billions of dollars vanished, and now there's a million plus creditors that can't get their money back and are probably going to only get pennies on the dollar back. We do need some regulation, not only to protect consumers from things that they don't understand and that they don't know. It's one thing to say that we don't need protection in areas where people should know better and where people are just not doing their due diligence, because that's one of the things the SEC does right now, is it regulates things to such a degree that a fool who's not doing any research is massively protected, and then you start removing natural selection. But it's a little bit different from what the SEC's job really is, which is to stop a meteor from coming in from outer space and blowing up an entire industry, versus stopping a gazelle from walking in a river where there's alligators. That's natural selection at play. Investors do need to get burned so that they can be made an example of for the rest of the market, and the market can operate healthily when they have all the information at hand. That is the core of what the SEC is really supposed to do, is force companies to have disclosures to make sure that they are in compliance with the law, and to make sure that investors can actually make profitable investment decisions based off of real-time, not necessarily real-time, but also off of real and accurate information. That is a pretty decent mandate if it were actually being followed that closely, but it's not. They've gone far beyond their mandate. The problem is, in cryptocurrency, it's a completely different industry. There is no expertise in the SEC around cryptocurrencies. They have been saying for many years that the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are securities. So why are none of them being regulated as such? Is there one giant attack coming in here in the next 12 months from the SEC where they're going to say, boom, everything but Bitcoin's a security, and every single one of you have 6 months to file disclosures, and then you see the market drop 80% from that? Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. One of the reasons why a lot of people want the cryptocurrency market to move in the direction of the CFTC is because the CFTC is a lot less on regulation, and since there's not as much framework there, that is going to cause the market to crash so much. If you see all of a sudden everything labeled, oh, it's a commodity, it means that the CFTC can start actually building proprietary regulation for the cryptocurrency industry. If you don't know, the CFTC is actually a subset of the Department of Agriculture, because commodities generally are including things like corn, wheat, soy, grain, all these different staple crops. That's typically what you mean by a commodity. Bitcoin is hands down a commodity, because there's absolutely no way you could possibly argue that there's anything that you're investing in Bitcoin with that's going to a company that has a profitable enterprise. You can't make that argument because it doesn't exist. In Ethereum and the other foundations that build the projects, you could kind of make that argument. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the reason why we want to go with the CFTC, if we have to choose between one of these two governing bodies, is because the CFTC is a lot more laissez-faire, which is very important to a free market economy, because most free market economies are not so much free market economies anymore. They are heavily regulated and centralized economies at this point, especially in Europe, and the United States is going that way. We're only 10 or 15 years behind them in the way that our markets operate compared to theirs. But a lot of us want to go with the CFTC because they have a lot less rules and regulations already built, and so that we, the industry, will have more of a voice in the United States federal government to help regulation be built in a way that is actually conducive to growth in the cryptocurrency industry. I hope that makes sense. It's not that the vast majority of people in crypto are against regulation. There are some. We do have our anarchists in crypto, and you go be an anarchist. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. If you don't want an ambulance to come when you fall down the stairs, or if you don't want a fire department to come and put out a fire in your house, then you do that. More power to you. I have friends that are anarchists like that. So long as you're not breaking the law, but you're just trying to be self-sufficient, then go for it. You do that. But the vast majority of people in this industry and in the world are not like that, and they do want some degree of support from the central government. And there is a certain place for the central government to put in protection that otherwise would not be economically viable, so you wouldn't have a business form that would do that on its own. That is the place of the government. Things like national defense, which that is a very profitable enterprise, but mainly because the government built it that way, not because it would be inherently. There's a big difference there. Such as this, I'm not even going to go into specifics because there's so much political drama around every single government agency, but the government does have a real place. And one of the places is to make sure these companies are disclosing information so that investors can make proper decisions. Most of the people in crypto do want some degree of regulatory clarity and some degree of regulatory disclosure. We just don't want all of the disclosures that come with the CFTC. And we're going to talk about what some of those look like in a second, but let me just paraphrase Michael Saylor, who we had on the channel here. Michael Saylor is the founder and CEO of MicroStrategy. It's a $30 33-year-old company with over $1 billion in revenue, several thousand employees, and they are the largest single owner of Bitcoin outside of exchanges in the entire world. He is worth several $billion, and at least $1 billion of that is in Bitcoin right now. They spend, and he said this on this channel, they spend over $10 million a year on disclosures for the SEC. The vast majority of which are never going to be read by any of the investors because it's overly complicated and tedious and a mess. The SEC is a bureaucratic nightmare. The CFTC is, it's a government agency in its own right, but less so. So hopefully that kind of paints the picture of why, yes, we do actually want regulatory clarity, because there's trillions of dollars sitting on the sidelines to invest in crypto that won't do it until they've had regulatory clarity, because there's so many people around the world that want to actually know whether or not Bitcoin, not so much Bitcoin, but whether or not these altcoins are actually stable. We still don't know whether or not Binance is actually solvent. We still don't know whether or not Tether is actually solvent. We know some about Coinbase because it's publicly traded and it's under the Securities and Exchange Commission, and they have to report their financials. So there is a certain degree of transparency with Coinbase because they are under the SEC. And the good parts of the SEC are actually operating as they should with Coinbase. The tricky thing is that if we regulate all of crypto as a security, that'll take 5 years for the industry, maybe 3 years because it's a fast-moving industry. That'll take at least 3 years for the industry to adapt, and it will probably crush most of the DeFi projects and stifle innovation, because that's what the U.S. federal government has gotten pretty good at doing recently. We want to see crypto, especially Ethereum, regulated under the CFTC so they don't come under those heavy burdens of regulation. And that's where we get to this article right here. CFTC has faced a lot of scrutiny in the wake of FTX collapse due to its ties with the crypto exchange and SBF's efforts to put the committee as the key oversight body for crypto. SBF did do this. That being said, the CFTC of the two would be the best committee, the best commission. It would be the best commission to actually regulate Bitcoin and crypto. The chief of the United States CFTC, Rostin Benham, claimed Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that can be viewed as a commodity during an invite-only event at Princeton University, reported Fortune. Benham's comments are quite in contrast to his earlier statements in October, where he claimed Ether would also be viewed as a commodity. I even have that article right over here. Back on 10/25/2022, this is just over a month ago, CFTC Chair calls Ether a commodity despite proof-of-stake transition. Commodity Futures Trading Commission Chairman Rostin Benham, remember, same guy, believes leading... It's not like this is a different chairman, same organization, so we have a different new sheriff in town that went and changed the story. This is the same person. Believes leading cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether are both commodities, despite the latter being considered a security by Securities and Exchange Commission SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. I've suggested Ether as a commodity, and Gary Gensler thinks otherwise. Benham said Monday at a Manhattan event featuring Rutgers Law, Wall Street Blockchain Alliance, and Lauerstein Sandler Fortune reported. Here's the problem. The fact that there was a disagreement going on between Rostin Benham and Gary Gensler of the CFTC and the SEC respectively was actually a very healthy thing. And the reason it was a very healthy thing is because you then put both of those governing bodies in competition against each other to try and regulate Ethereum. One of them is going to end up regulating Ethereum in the United States. It's unfortunately, we should have our own regulatory framework, but it's going to happen more than likely. One of them is going to be the winner in this winner-take-all event, and they're going to be the ones that regulate Ethereum and everything else. When you had a disagreement between those two men, what they have to do then is they have to go before Congress and make their pitch for why Ethereum should or should not be a security or a commodity, and what would be best for not only the industry, but also for the American taxpayer. Now that they both agree that it's a security, Rostin Benham just ceded the game. He just gave up his position that Ethereum is a security. He was the biggest advocate Ethereum had that Ethereum was not a security and that it was a commodity. Ethereum had an advocate in the CFTC, and they just lost it. So what does this mean for Ethereum? Well, if we look at the price of Ethereum, it's basically not responded at all. And that's one of the points I want to make here to you. This is a nothing burger story until something actually develops. It's very important to keep an eye on, but it hasn't actually turned into anything just yet. You can see over here that Ethereum is still doing relatively well over the last few days. As you know, Ethereum and Bitcoin have been doing quite well over the last 2 days. In fact, Ethereum rallied from 1150 all the way up to 1313, that being 15% in 2.5 days. Right now, it's ranging sideways, but it makes sense. so is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's even going through a slight drop right now in just the last few minutes, dropping below the level of support at $17,000 that it was holding. Ethereum dropping down to $1264. So these markets have not responded in a massively bearish way. That points to two different things. First of all, it points to the theory that we had in yesterday's stream that the bottom actually may yet be in for crypto, but it also points to the fact that since we don't know whether Ethereum is or is not a security or a commodity, people really don't care until there's an actual announcement. And there's not an actual announcement yet. We don't actually know whether or not Ethereum is a commodity or a securities yet. But if Ethereum is a security, we're going to talk about today what that would look like for Ethereum and the developers thereof, and what that would look like for you who are holding Ethereum. Is Ethereum a security? That's a very important question that we're going to dive into in this interview, in this video. Let's go ahead and read chat here for a second, though. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Shannon Sharp said, Jebb, the shirts are A+. Yes, this is a little A87 shirt. Got it for $3. It's a great shirt. It's almost brand new, too. I love this shirt. Are we supposed to be eating goose for Christmas? Asking for a friend. I don't know. We have an extra ham. We accidentally had two grocery orders for Thanksgiving, so we actually have two hams. So we have a ham for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. So we're going to be eating ham. I don't know what you're going to be eating. Tell me in chat. Let's see here. CoffeeZilla, Crypto Smitty said, CoffeeZilla posted an SBF interview on Twitter. This is lame. The audience applauding. I'll look into that. Commodity. Yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and post a poll. Ethereum is a commodity security. Let's see what you guys think. Is it a commodity or is it a security? I'm not asking what you want it to be. What do you think it is? Because that's ultimately what it is. Absolutely. Maybe CZ will straighten all that out. Yeah, hopefully. I saw FTX and they're fully... I saw FTX said they're fully solvent and people will be able to take their funds off the exchange. Right, yeah. If they said that, that's a lie. If they said that, that is definitely not true. I don't know where they would have come up with $9 billion from. Okay. So right now we are seeing there's 52 votes. 67% of you guys are saying a commodity. Very interesting. I honestly, and that's why I wanted to correct myself earlier, I think I agree. The problem is that there's a lot of things that, in the way that it operates right now, I think it more resembles a commodity. However, Colin McDonald, shout out, what's up? Before Ethereum 2.0 commodity, after a security. Yeah, so that's a big part of the transition. Is it a security because of the ICO? Is it a security because of the way that the development team works on it? SBF said FTX.us is fully solvent. Right. They're involved in the bankruptcy filing, though, and they're part of the empire, which means that they would have to draw on FTX.us to try and to bail out the rest of the exchange, which would bring them into bankruptcy as well, which is what happened. So we'll see if that changes, but yes, commodities are defined as products you can physically touch. Well, yes, but the CFTC also regulates futures, and you can't touch a futures contract because it represents something that is away from you physically. It's not physically next to you in the same way that Ethereum and Bitcoin are not physically next to you. But that being said, you actually can touch Bitcoin. You can hold the hardware wallet that is touching that is part of the question. But in my opinion, I believe that a digital asset can be a commodity even if you can't physically touch it, because that's not really the point. All right, well, let's go ahead and go over what exactly a security is. I've run you guys through this multiple times here on the channel. This is the Howie test, which comes from a Supreme Court case back in 1946, where the SEC was going up to battle against W.J. Howie Co. This is what they came to decide constituted a security, which is what the Securities and Exchange Commission is over. The Howie test is very simple, and it goes like this. One, an investment contract, which is another word for a security, is an investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profit to be derived by the efforts of others. Here's the problem with that. Let's run Ethereum through that test. Are you investing into Ethereum? Well, hang on. Now we got to back up, because the question then becomes, what Ethereum are we investing into? Are we investing into Ethereum, the cryptocurrency, or are we investing into the Ethereum Foundation, the Ethereum development team that's actually building Ethereum? That's the tricky thing. Today, when we're investing in Ethereum, we're investing in the cryptocurrency. When it ICO'd, you were investing in the development team behind Ethereum. So you run into the question of, are you investing in Ethereum itself? In that when you buy corn, are you buying corn or are you buying into the farmer's farm? Right? Because if you're buying corn because the corn represents a fractional ownership in the farmer's farm, it's actually, the corn's a security. But if you're buying corn for the sake of buying corn, then you're buying a commodity. If you're buying stock in the farmer's farm, you're buying securities. If you're buying the corn, you're buying the commodity, because the commodity is the output of the profitable enterprise. The security is the ownership in the profitable enterprise. That's the difference. So when you're buying into the Ethereum today, you're buying the product of the profitable enterprise, which was the team that originally created Ethereum. However, when you were buying the ICO, you were then buying into the actual, see, that's the tricky thing. It's not ownership. You were buying into the investment with an expectation of profit and an expectation of return from the work of others into the Ethereum project that was actually building Ethereum. And now, when you are staking Ethereum, a similar thing takes place. Let's go on. So an investment of money, that's kind of depending on what you mean by you're investing in Ethereum. I'm investing in the farm. Okay, I'm buying into the farm. That statement is so vague. Are you buying corn that was produced by the farm, or are you buying ownership in the farm? One's a commodity, one's a security. What are we doing in crypto? Well, here's the problem. It doesn't make any sense because it's neither. Cryptocurrencies are not securities because you're not buying ownership in the company, because no company exists. It's not a certificate of ownership. It's just it's a part of the whole, but it's also not a commodity because it's not a product of a profitable enterprise. It just is. That's what I mean, that neither of these agencies have any business regulating crypto in the first place. So we are kind of choosing between the lesser of two evils here. We need our own regulatory framework because it's a completely new industry, completely new asset class. But anyway, in a common enterprise, Ethereum is a common enterprise. Wait, what about the phrase enterprise? What's an enterprise? Does Ethereum constitute an enterprise? Does it have a board of directors? Does it have a balance sheet? Does it have profit and loss? Well, you could talk about the different organizations that contribute to Ethereum. Those may be enterprises, but you're not investing in those because those have ownership. You're not buying stock in that. You're not buying ownership in that. You're buying Ethereum, the cryptocurrency. So if it's in a common enterprise, it's in a common something. It's in a common cryptocurrency. It's not in a common enterprise when you buy Ethereum. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're a judge and a jury, or not a jury, but if you're a judge on the Supreme Court and you don't know any better, common enterprise, sure, Ethereum's a common enterprise, right? It's not an enterprise. It doesn't work that way. It's not an enterprise. It is decentralized in the cryptocurrency. Now, there are centralized entities that contribute to the decentralized entity, but the entity itself is, in theory anyway, decentralized. With the expectation of profit. Yes, when you invest in Ethereum, you invest in it with the expectation of profit. The problem is you also invest in Ethereum and buy into Ethereum for the sake of using it for what it was created for. You buy into Ethereum for the sake of using it for what it was created for, or an expectation of profit. So is it a security on the one hand, if you're buying it for what it was used for, the same way you buy corn for what it was used for when you're buying corn to eat it or turn it into cornmeal and feed it to cows or chickens or something? Or are you buying corn because you're investing in the corn and you're hoping to turn around with a futures contract and sell it? It depends. And the thing that's confusing is that oftentimes if you're buying Ethereum with the expectation of profit, you're normally buying it you could be buying it as a futures contract, which would make what you're doing buying a security potentially, but it's regulated by the CFTC because of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. None of this makes any sense. I hope you realize how confusing this is. It is extremely confusing. And at the same time, you're buying Ethereum, the cryptocurrency. You're not buying stock in the companies that are contributing to Ethereum. You're not buying fractional ownership in the individual contractors that are contributing to Ethereum for free. You're not. You're buying into Ethereum. If you're buying into their companies, then yes, you're buying a security to be derived from the efforts of others. Yes. Okay. So this is the one that categorically, unequivocally meets the criteria. You are investing in Ethereum to be derived by the efforts of others. If you're buying Ethereum, you are getting something from the efforts of others. You are getting something from the efforts of the developers. You are getting something from the efforts of the stakers. You are getting something from the efforts of the other people who have bought into the asset, causing its valuation to increase. Here's the problem with that statement. Everything you buy is derived from the efforts of others. There is not a single thing on this entire planet that you can buy that was not derived from the effort of somebody else. Nothing. There's not a single thing in this entire room that I'm sitting in where I didn't buy it and it was derived by the efforts of others. So that doesn't really help a whole lot. I mean, you go out and pick up a flower, derived by the efforts of who? Derived by the efforts of God who created the universe. Derived by the efforts of the soil that grew the flower. You're always deriving something by the efforts of others. And even if you're talking about derived by the efforts of others, meaning humans in particular, well, here's the deal. There's almost nothing raw resource related that you just go out and get on your own. Almost nothing. Almost nothing at all. Unless you want to tell me that you run a coal mine and you run that coal mine entirely on your own with absolutely no man-made equipment, you are getting just about every single resource on the entire planet derived by the efforts of others. It is actually extremely difficult, nigh impossible, to live a life where you have completely no interaction, completely no assistance from a single other human being in the entire world. Doesn't exist. Not really, anyway. Maybe in theory, but not in practice. So you see how confusing this is. You see why calling Ethereum a commodity doesn't make sense, because it has some elements of a security. The way that it ICO'd looks a whole lot like an IPO, even in the name, initial coin offering, initial product offering. It's basically the exact same thing, an ICO. So the ICO you could consider a security, but if the ICO is a security, does that make Ethereum a security? Not necessarily, because you could have a security-like fundraiser that does not lead to a security being created. That's what seems to have happened with Ethereum. And a lot of people are saying that ETH 2.0 makes a difference. I don't see how. I honestly don't see how it makes a difference. I really don't. I don't see how it makes any difference at all. What I do see is that Ethereum does not neatly fall into the category of security or commodity. And so therefore, Ethereum and all the other cryptocurrencies should be regulated based on like rules. Ethereum does not look like a security, and it does not look like a commodity, but you know what it does look like? It looks like all the other cryptocurrencies. It looks like Bitcoin, has a blockchain, has a block time, has people contributing to the security of the network, has the ability to invest in it, is in theory anyway decentralized. If it's not decentralized, then yeah, it probably is a security. There are a lot of altcoins that I think are securities. But in theory, if it's decentralized, then it should not be a security, because you're investing in a common enterprise, to use the second part of the Howie test. If it's decentralized, there is no common enterprise. There should not be a common enterprise. There are contributors, but there should not be a common enterprise. But what Ethereum does look like is it looks very much like Bitcoin and the other cryptos. So a lot of people are saying, well, Bitcoin, and the CFTC is saying this now apparently, which is strange because they're backpedaling, that Bitcoin is the only commodity and Ethereum is a security because Bitcoin did not have an ICO. Bitcoin does not have any kind of entity contributing to it on a centralized manner. It's completely and totally decentralized. It is the pinnacle of decentralized technology, which is a true statement. And securities and cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and the other altcoins are not as decentralized as Bitcoin, also a true statement. That doesn't mean that they're so centralized that they represent stock trading companies. They are somewhere in the middle. There's a little bit of centralization, but there's not so much that they represent full-on companies. So as I said, it makes no sense to me whatsoever that you should consider either one of them to be the proper classification for a cryptocurrency. We need our own classification. With that said, though, we do have to understand that there's a realism component here. If Rostin Benham is saying that Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that can be viewed as a commodity, then he just ceded territory over to the Securities and Exchange Commission. You can see right here, CFTC Commissioner, Ethereum is a commodity even with proof of stake. This is an article that came out September 30th, 2022. I also showed you this article that came out 10/25/2022, where the CFTC chair came out and said that Ethereum was a commodity. He ceded his ground. And I'm wondering if this is a political move rather than an actual regulatory clarity move based on sound principles. It seems to me that because Sam Bankman-Fried was courting the CFTC and trying to help cryptocurrencies be regulated by the CFTC rather than the SEC, that the CFTC wants to distance themselves from Gary, who was good friends with SBF, and from SBF and the FTX disaster, because, oh gosh, crypto is just a giant mess. If something blows up again, let it be Gary's fault. Is that the motivation? I don't know. But it kind of smells like it. Very convenient timing that Rostin Benham said that Ethereum is a commodity. And then after FTX blows up, no, not a commodity anymore. It's a security. What changed? Nothing changed at all. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, XRP, all these cryptocurrencies never looked like a commodity or a security. So why do you see the territory unless it's because it was no longer politically convenient for the CFTC to be the regulatory governing body over Ethereum? Did the CFTC just abandon Ethereum because they didn't want to fight that war against the SEC that seems to have a whole lot more resolve and a whole lot more desire to have a regulatory monopoly over cryptocurrency? Led by a man that is probably pretty scary to Ross and Benham named Gary Genslers. That is not how we should be making decisions in this country over whether or not Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies are regulated as commodities, securities, or, please, for the love of God, a different asset class that is created specifically to regulate cryptos. This is a $1 trillion industry we're talking about here. $2.8 trillion at the previous all-time high. This will likely be a $50 or $100 trillion industry, factoring in inflation of the US dollar, within the next 30 years. It needs its own classification, and we need to be champions of that fact. It is a fact. These are not commodities, and they are not securities, and Rostam Benham and Gary Gensler need to butt out and encourage the Congress to create a new regulatory body to oversee Bitcoin and crypto. That's what needs to occur, and they also need to both work together to scrutinize and investigate SBF and Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF and FTX on a very, very close level, because the Securities and Exchange Commission, by the way, is over exchanges. So while the SEC probably should not be over Ethereum and over other cryptocurrencies, there's a very strong argument that it should have been over FTX, at least until we have another governing body created that governs cryptocurrency exchanges also. Until that takes place, that is the SEC's jurisdiction to be over FTX. It is their job to be over FTX and make sure that they are having proper accountability. Gary Gensler just watched FTX blow up in his face, and now what he's going to be able to do is go in front of Congress and say, wasn't my fault. There's no regulatory clarity. This is a very young industry that is not properly regulated. Here's what we should do. We should regulate all of it as securities, give it all to me so that I can make sure this doesn't happen again, and he can use FTX as a power grab. That's what I've been saying since FTX blew up. Gary Gensler is going to use this once-in-a-decade opportunity to make advances, and it looks like there may have been a deal struck behind the scenes between Rostam Benham and Gary Gensler, where Ethereum is magically all of a sudden no longer a security, no longer a commodity, but now they both agree that it's a security so that the SEC can step in and start to regulate the entire industry. The SEC regulating this entire industry is not good for innovation, because the SEC regulating the stock market has not always been very good for innovation. You know how much money stock trading companies spend every single year to make sure that they don't get on the SEC's bad side? Because the SEC is extremely hawkish on their regulation of the stock market. It's a very, very big deal. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. 68% of the 259 votes, or 300 votes or so, said that Ethereum is a commodity. I should have added a clause in there, an option in there to say it's neither. So let's see. The efforts of others is only dependable on the Ethereum Foundation. Quit lying to everyone. Yeah, but that's the thing, is that Ethereum is, in theory anyway, supposed to be, and look, maybe Ethereum's lying to us, but Ethereum anyway is supposed to be independent of all of those foundations. It's supposed to run on its own, whereas a stock, if the company goes belly up, the stock is worthless. Ethereum, in theory anyway, now this is where we in the industry have to hold developers accountable, Ethereum, in theory anyway, ought to be completely independent even if the Ethereum Foundation disappeared. That may not be true, but that's what is supposed to be happening. That's what Bitcoin's happening. If everybody just abandoned Bitcoin, it would run smoothly. It'd run totally fine. Might stop getting updates, but it'd run fine. Ethereum is supposed to be the same way. By the way, we have 630 people watching. Make sure to smash that like button. Let's see if we can't get back to 300 likes. What does it mean for us dummies if we sell ETH and it's a security instead of a commodity? That doesn't mean a whole lot of anything yet, because it has not been clearly defined as either. There's no actual regulatory clarity there, and that's part of the problem, isn't it? Seems like this could be sorted out if lawmakers would just sit down with experts in the field and stop pretending to understand it. That is true, but there's a lot of pride here, and there's a lot of politicking here where different different organizations and commissions want to have regulatory oversight of this industry. The government will just revise the Howie test or get rid of it if it doesn't work for crypto. The thing is, the Howie test does work for stocks. It doesn't work for crypto. The Howie test doesn't necessarily need to be gotten rid of for the sake of crypto. It needs to be not used on crypto because it's not applicable to crypto. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on to some technical analysis and look closely at what's going on in Bitcoin. Before we do that, I do just want to go ahead and read this. Public company SEC reporting requirements. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly desire to go public. Fire out a quick S1 registration, maybe a few press releases, and boom, you're the new belle of Wall Street. Like it or not, often demanding pre-IPO processes that require extensive thought, patience, organization, and expertise to begin public life on the right foot. But there are all kinds of different things that you have to do. What are SEC filings? Corporate history, organizational structure and leadership, financial statements, information on subsidiaries, executive compensation details, key metrics like earnings per share, EPS, and others. Further, 10K is divided into 5 main sectors. Business, a general overview of your company's business and particular main lines of operation. A look at any risks you now face or might face in the future. All of these are different things that you have to Form 10K, Form 8K, 10Q, 8K. All these are different filings for the SEC that you have to make sure are consistent, that are up to date. These are all of the different reportings. They're more than this, but these are just some of the different filings that have to be given to the SEC to be a security and go public. The problem is a cryptocurrency doesn't go public. It doesn't work that way. It's not under a stock exchange. Anyway, moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum and look at it from a technical standpoint. If we look at Ethereum here, we will be able to see that Ethereum has gone through a very strong rally ever since its bottoms back here around the 22nd of November 2022, sitting at around $1,073. In that time, in 8 days, it has rallied 22% and done very, very well for itself. It's actually dropped a little bit over the last several days, but it doing so has actually formed itself into a rising into a bullish pennant right here. And this bull pennant actually has a price target very, very far to the upside, with that price target sitting up here around $14,489, which, if we draw a horizontal line, we will see corresponds with quite a bit of price action that took place back over here in these previous markets, and then we fell through sharply here. I'd love to see Ethereum go through this movement all the way up to these levels and even higher, up to $16,700, because then Ethereum would be able to butt its head on this level, and we'd be able to see, hopefully, an Ethereum head and shoulders form, because Ethereum is the only asset in the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem, in my opinion, that has the ability to kick off a bull market in crypto besides Bitcoin itself. It is the only cryptocurrency that is large enough to have enough inertia to get Bitcoin moving into a bull market of its own, and that's because Ethereum is almost worth half of what Bitcoin is worth from a market capitalization standpoint. Both of them have been working growing extremely fast over the last 10 years, but Ethereum has actually outpaced Bitcoin and has been gaining Bitcoin dominance against Bitcoin ever since about 2017. If we look here in market cap, major assets by percentage of total market capitalization, we're looking at stablecoins yesterday, but if we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can see ever since 2017, Ethereum has been jumping up, and Bitcoin has been losing market dominance to the point where Ethereum is worth about half market cap wise what Bitcoin is worth, whereas before, in the beginning of 2017, it was worth less than a 20th of what Bitcoin was market cap wise. Obviously, there's been a big shift in the demand for Bitcoin and Ethereum from the days when Ethereum was worth a tenth of Bitcoin to where now it is worth a half of Bitcoin. That being said, another thing to look at is that Ethereum is also setting higher lows on its chart relative to Bitcoin setting lower lows. You can see here that Bitcoin has set lower lows in this time, and Ethereum has also set higher lows in this time. That tells us a few things. That tells us that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin right now, and it also tells us that the market may not actually be all that concerned about Ethereum being deemed a security. Potentially, Ethereum is large enough with a large enough team behind it that it being deemed a security wouldn't be the end of the world, or who are you going to subpoena? What corporate offices are you going to send that to? So maybe the industry just doesn't care that much, because good luck trying to serve a warrant to Ethereum. a cryptocurrency. What is it? What's Ethereum going to do? Appear before court? It doesn't work that way. Now, the Ethereum Foundation very well may come under scrutiny, but again, in theory anyway, if we are being told accurate information, it shouldn't matter because Ethereum ought to be able to run on its own even without the development that's going on behind the scenes. Even though the development would stop, Ethereum should, in theory, continue to operate as the base layer that is being continuously worked on. It should, anyway, continue to develop and to continue to move forward. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and take a look at Lux Algo here and look at it from a technical standpoint. You can see that we're currently under a sell signal here on the daily chart, and that's a very obvious sell signal that had confirmation here and trend catcher confirmation as well. We jumped pretty far down into the take profit zone after the FTX unravel. The middle of the take profit was sitting at $1,050. We've now jumped up out of the take profit zone, and we're currently pushing back towards the trend catcher here. If we're able to break through the trend catcher and probably break up to at least $1,500, we may see the trend catcher turn green, and we may see a strong buy signal come into play. If that occurs, then we would be looking for Ethereum to rally all the way back up to the reversal zone up here around $1,800. That's what we would like to see. We are, however, not only just seeing that Ethereum's bouncing, but we're also seeing that the Lux Oscillator has turned and converged and is pushing to the upside. That is a very good sign as well. Looking down here on the 4-hourly chart, we can also see that Ethereum is currently under a buy signal, and we actually just got trend catcher confirmation here on the 4-hourly chart, and the Lux Oscillator here in the middle, the EQ Cloud is currently bullish, and Lux Oscillator is bullish, indicating that the market is doing pretty well. We're sitting pretty far above the EQ Cloud, even touching up here into the reversal zone briefly, but the thing to keep in mind here is that even though we're in this bull flag, which would push us, bull pennant, which would push us up to 14.6, we are $1,460. We are currently already sitting in the take profit zone, which could indicate a short-term correction down here to support around 1230, where we may then bounce and recover a movement to the upside, and that would give Ethereum the fuel that it needs to blast off into the stratosphere. But keep in mind also, guys, Ethereum is very closely correlated with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is undergoing a rally at the moment also, where we've set higher highs and higher lows. That's encouraging. If we look at Lux Algo SR and Patterns Premium here, and we just come in here and need to adjust the indicator a little bit. Turn on pattern detection, set this to none. Then, actually not pattern detection. I want to look at the order blocks and swing structures here. You can see that we had a change of character. CHOCH, that's the change of character. That is that we were setting higher highs, equal highs, but we broke bullish out of it, and we ended up managing to go to the upside. And we also broke bullish above the point of control here in this area on Bitcoin. That indicates that Bitcoin is in a pretty decent uptrend right now and has a chance to move to the upside. We even can see this dashed line right here being drawn by Lux Algo, giving us a level of resistance that Bitcoin wants to hold, that being 17,000. Right now, Bitcoin is flirting with the idea of moving back down below 19,000, which would indicate a head and shoulders pattern, which could push us as low as, just go ahead and look here, as low as 16,300. So that's the concern. What are we going to see happen here? Is Bitcoin going to be able to maintain its momentum, continue making higher highs, or is Bitcoin going to fall through the floor down below 17K and further to the downside? That's what we want to find out the answer to today and right now. Otherwise, if Bitcoin is able to continue moving to the upside, then that is going to continue giving Ethereum the momentum that it needs to also move to the upside, because Ethereum has had its own change of character. It has had its own higher highs. It has its own slightly lower high that was now breached in that change of character. So if Ethereum and Bitcoin can move in tandem and support each other, then they together can pass the baton back and forth, leading the market to move to the upside and potentially kicking us off into a rally that could drive Bitcoin back to 20,000. This could very well be the beginning of a major movement to the upside, which would result in a rally on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, which would allow for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets to potentially have already confirmed that they're that they have bottomed, and that the market is going to be going into a rally at some point in the next several months. That, as of yet, again, is not confirmed, though. So, appreciate your patience with the cryptocurrency space, but everything's going to be just fine. All right, guys, let's go ahead and check out some chat. The reason SEC and Commodities Department are fighting for control is because he who controls it ultimately profits from it. Absolutely right, Matt. Totally agree. Take it easy, man. Clary Entertainment said, "Good morning, fam. Glad to see my boy back at it. Jebb and TA is the best. Thank you, man." My super chat keeps failing. I'm sorry, Guinness Stash. Guinness Stash. That's a cool name. Sun is finally out here in North Carolina, but still cold. I know the sun came out today, and I was feeling a lot better. Really enjoy having the sun out. Let's see. All right, let's read some chat here. Howie test is like a candle factory the day the light bulb was invented. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is in regard to crypto. CBD Study is in chat again. Again, thank you for the upgrade to a member. The bigger problem is human greed. Totally agree. That's exactly what it is. We can't even agree on ETH in chat. Certainly regulators will know less than us won't be able to. That's right. Exactly. That's my point. The reason that we in our own industry can't agree is because neither of the options make sense. It's not a security. It's not a commodity. Sailor said that everything but Bitcoin and Litecoin are securities. I think a lot of the cryptocurrencies are securities. I don't know if Ethereum classifies as one. At least it shouldn't, in theory. Let's see. Is Club DeFi working right now? Can I sign up? Does anybody know in chat? Yes. So ever since coming back, Club DeFi has been a mess. And that is something that we want to fix. So we have taken Club DeFi offline, or we're taking Club DeFi offline for a time to rebuild it correctly in a system where we will actually be able to do the proper customer service and take care of you guys. Today, we're going to be going through and pausing, in fact, not even pausing, canceling all of your paid memberships that we can access and turning that over to you guys so that you guys are not paying for it anymore. Anything you still have access to, you can continue to access until the new product, until Club DeFi is rebuilt and relaunched. We're hoping by the end of January, but we're wanting to do it by the end of January, but we want to do it even earlier than that. You can check my Twitter for more updates on what's going on with Club DeFi. I do apologize for everybody that has been affected by that. The Discord server is going to stay up. I'm going to continue doing office hours. That is an announcement I need to make, actually. Office hours today is going to be rescheduled to tomorrow. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that. I'll be updating that in the Club DeFi Discord server as well. Good deal. Don't you think we've been yet in a despair sentiment after FTX collapse where everybody thinks BTC is dead? Yes, I think that's exactly where we are on the good old Wall Street cheat sheet. If you guys aren't familiar with the Wall Street cheat sheet, I will show you. I definitely think that we're sitting in the despair category right here. In fact, let's look at this. This has the almighty Wall Street cheat sheet. Somebody posted it over. Old Bitcoin market right here. Depression. My retirement money is lost. How can I pay for my new car's insurance? Disbelief. This is a sucker's rally. Point of maximum financial risk. Yeah, I would agree. That's pretty funny on the rally up to those levels. This is way back in the day, 2014, going on through 2017. But the Wall Street cheat sheet, if you don't know what it is, it's a very popular, basically just infographic that shows us where, okay, I accidentally went onto a CoinDesk article, but it shows us where the market is based on contraction or expansion of the market, prosperity, depression, etc. A lot of people are sitting right here in this depression state. My retirement money is lost. How can we pay for all this new stuff? I'm an idiot. That's what a lot of people are feeling right now, is that the market is dead. A lot of people think the market's dead, and it's not dead. Coinbase has dropped a lot, but the market is not dead. Bitcoin is far from it. It's continuing to develop, and will continue to develop even despite the challenges that it has. What day does the CPI report come out, Jebb? It comes out the December 13th, actually, I think. The Fed meeting is on December 14th. The Fed release should be on December 14th. CPI comes out, I'll check, but I'm pretty sure it's December 13th. Release schedule 2022. Because I remember I've told you guys, yes, December 13th, 8:30 Eastern time. As always, going to come out 8:30. Right before market open of the stock market, December 13, 2022. That's going to be very important because that's going to color the Fed's decision. But if you don't remember, Jerome Powell came out yesterday and talked about how the effective federal funds rate is almost certainly going to be lower than what it had been. It's almost certainly going to be sitting at 50 basis point rate hike rather than a 75 basis point rate hike. However, we talked about the geopolitical implications of the Ukraine conflict yesterday and how all of those different conflicts could actually lead to Bitcoin to the United States Federal Reserve raising the effective federal funds rate by 50 basis points several times rather than just dropping down to 25 next time. They could be slowing it down gradually rather than slowing it down all at once. I think it's the 13th. The Fed meeting is the 14th. Yes, it is. The CPI data release is the 13th. The Fed meeting is the 13th, and the 14th will have the information drop on the 14th. Can we talk about this Howie test? Is this really the only real metric? Yes, the Howie test is what the Securities and Exchange Commission utilizes to, is what the Securities and Exchange Commission utilizes to determine whether or not something is a security at its core. Bitcoin cannot be replaced, but Ethereum can be. Yeah, that's true, actually. I would agree with that from an industry standpoint. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in today for Coffee and Crypto. You know what FTX didn't have? Any Bitcoin. You can't run a proper scam on Bitcoin. Yeah, that's very interesting. It's on the FTX's balance sheet. They were not holding Bitcoin. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Cannot believe that a cryptocurrency exchange would not be holding Bitcoin. That's what I'm talking about exchanges not having one-to-one reserves with their assets with the people that have deposited. Ethereum is so many different things. It's hard to tell. It's hard to call it something other than ETH. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. All right. Well, guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single upload. As I said, there will be a interview with George from Cryptos R Us going up on the channel on Saturday, and I've got a Sunday video coming for you that'll go up at 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday as well. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Thank you guys so very much for all of your support here through the bear market. But before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.